both with excellent defenses, offenses, speed, punching power, both undefeated, both with belts. It would be a unification fight. It almost never happens. Almost never. In a 50-50 fight.
Period. That is the fight everyone should want. That is the #1 desirable fight in all of combat sports. There is no other fight that anyone should want more.
They're meeting at a great time, and whoever wins this fight should be the supreme 154-pounder right now.
Is this a fight that you dare to say is a 50-50 fight?
Yeah, it gives a 50-50 fight. I give it more, it's 50-50 in a sense, but because of the experience, you can go 60-40. 60 with Boots, 40 with Xander, but it kind of is a 50-50 fight, yes.
Max Kellerman joined Stephen A. Smith to give a strong opinion on the upcoming fight between Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas, as he questioned the idea that Ennis will easily dominate and said Zayas has the accuracy, ring intelligence, and calm approach to surprise the boxing world.
Thing to say, Boots is this future superstar. He beat this guy and that guy and that guy. Meantime, when you actually make the fights, and it's like, oh, he's really going to fight that guy? Is he going to win? Where are you with this?
Where I am, Max, is that I want to give a lot of credit to Xander Zayas. You know, Xander Zayas, young guy, he wanted this fight. He called for the fight, and he made it happen quick after the Virgil Ortiz-Boots fight fell apart. So fair play to Xander. He has a lot of confidence in himself, even though he's going to be the underdog. And you're right, Boots hasn't proven anything yet. Not his fault, but he hasn't fought anyone. He looks special. Now we're going to find out.
Stephen A. Smith added that Zayas is a special talent who needs more recognition and said he has the ability to upset Ennis if he performs at his best.
Is special, and we need to recognize that, and he deserves to be seen, and he deserves.
Max Kellerman also said that Xander Zayas made a bold move by accepting this fight and putting his title and reputation at risk by facing one of the toughest opponents, which could define his entire career.
Also, the thing about Xander, you're right, you got to give him props, is when you have a built-in fan base. In other words, it's not just that you're of a certain ethnic or national group, but you're undefeated. You've been groomed and promoted as maybe the future star that group's fan base will follow. You're risking a lot because you have a built-in economic engine behind you. And when you're a guy who can be put in a position to pick and choose, and you choose Boots, Gabe, what does that say?
Absolutely. This is a fight he definitely didn't have to take, man. You know, he's a 2-division champion right now. And for him to choose the toughest guy on paper right now, I mean, skill-wise, Boots, it's crazy. You know, it's crazy. He could have went a different route, but he chose the best.
Roy Jones Jr. praised Xander Zayas as a complete and versatile fighter with a long reach, strong inside and outside game, and sharp body punches, and he also highlighted his maturity, calling him one of the most difficult fighters in the division.
Zayas is a very good fighter, a complete fighter, a fighter who I think presents next to the most, he's probably the second most difficult guy to fight in the weight class because he's rangy. He can do so many things. He can fight inside, he can fight outside. He's a great body puncher. He's a very, very respected guy, and I think he's very mature for his age. Boots, on the other hand, is looking for that coming out party type fight. So he got to fight somebody at this point. And because he couldn't get A, he went to B. And I like that about Boots because Boots saying, I want all the smoke. If this one won't take me, I'll go find the next one. And so since he couldn't make the fight with Ortiz, he made the fight with Xander. This is what you want to see. This is a barn burner, I think. May the best man win, but both of these guys are capable of becoming the biggest threat to Fundora in the weight class because right now, Fundora is still the king of the weight class.
Roy Jones Jr. also mentioned that even though many fans wanted to see Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz, he believed the Zayas matchup could be even more interesting.
I really wanted to see Boots tested by another fighter beforehand. I wanted to see him fight Virgil Ortiz first because those,
at 54.
Yes, because those two guys were kind of on a collision course. However, I think Golden Boy and Virgil Ortiz had some issues. So now Boots went to the next best thing, which is even better than Virgil Ortiz. He went to Xander's.
Trainer Robert Garcia praised Zayas as a talented and confident young fighter, and said he's taking a big risk by facing Ennis at this stage, but believe his confidence and mindset give him a real chance in the fight.
Versus Xander is a very good consolation prize to get if we're not getting Virgil versus either of them.
Look,
what are your thoughts on that fight?
Look, it's a great fight, and Boots getting those challenges out there. Xander deciding to fight Boots on a very dangerous, challenging fight for himself. You know, you gotta respect, you know, that decision. You know, if the Virgil fight didn't happen, and then Virgil versus Boots is not happening, and Xander stepping in, you know, gotta respect that kid. You know, for being 23 and taking those challenges. You gotta respect that, you know. My pick, I would probably say, goes to Boots because talent-wise, but you know, Xander is positive about himself, man. He sounds very confident. I talked to him and he's very confident, very positive.
On the other hand, some experts believe Zayas shows predictable habits like leaning left during attacks, which leaves him open to counters and short right hands, and they also say he lacks elite knockout power and has been hit cleanly by less powerful opponents.
All right, so you were saying you watched the tape of Xander Zayas,
Right.
and you kind of touched on that, you know, he gets himself in certain spots where he doesn't throw punches. Go ahead and elaborate on it.
So when he's in the middle, so when he's on the center line, he might throw punches, but there's no power behind him. And if he's sitting on his right hand, same thing. He throws punches, quick shots, but those aren't the really dangerous shots. When he's trying to exchange and he wants to hurt you, you'll see his head go off center to the left over and over again. So he peaks, sort of like, I remember Salvador Sanchez used to hit you with those Jones, but then he'll peek over. So he'll peek over, throw a quick right hand, or he'll peek over, and if you freeze, or if he catch the right look that he's looking for, he's shooting a left hook or left hand to the body or left hand to the head almost every time. You know what I mean? And he throw with weight and with power. That's what he does to try to hurt his opponents, right? But that gets him caught because that's his rhythm. Every time he was there against Sparmer was hitting him with short right hands and was just timing his move. Like whenever he would peek over here, that short right hand was coming almost every time, and Sparmer was catching him right on the chin with those. And then when he's pulling back out of that, he's catching him with hooks. So he was short right hands, left hooks almost all day. It's just that Sparmer was a smaller guy, couldn't really hurt him, but he was hitting him. And that's what I pay attention to, is like, Boots is fast enough and athletic enough to still catch you in those positions, but it's not like you're fighting a smaller guy. Boots can hurt you if you get caught clean.
Terrence Crawford said it might be too early for Zayas to take such a high-level fight, and while he praised his talent and confidence, he warned that experience is very important before facing top fighters like Ennis.
Tough fight, you know, especially for Xander at this point in his career, but it shows his heart and his confidence, you know, that he have in himself, and he's ready to go make history for his country, and he's going to do real well in that fight. You know, I just think, you know, right now, you know, it's a little bit too early for him.
Jaron Ennis showed full confidence by saying he is the biggest name at 154 and believes he is taking over the division, and said this fight is just the beginning of his dominance.
What about that?
I'm feeling great, man. About to be a 2-time weight division unified champ. Man, I'm snapping my legacy, man. It's only up, man. I'm at the show the world I'm the best in the world. I'm gonna continue to keep showing the world I'm the best in the world. Like this boxing game mine. Straight like that.
Now, the bout with Virgil.
Right now, most people are backing Ennis, and all the attention on him may have increased his confidence and ego going into the fight.
Answering the questions that Boots was asking. So it was really one way.
Like I said, you know, both of the guys seem to be kind of, you know, I wouldn't say soft-spoken, but they seem respectful. You know, Bootsy always been kind of chill. I seen Xander being kind of chill. I could see, you know, Xander putting a chip on his back because everybody counting him out. You know, I could see him having a chip on his shoulder because everybody's counting him out. Everybody's just, you know, so high on Boots. So I could see that fueling him. But as far as, you know, Boots getting all tough with him, I don't understand that. I don't, you know, he's the golden child. I don't understand what he, you know, what he got to feel like he got to do. You know, I think his role is to just stay quiet and handle his business with his fists.
Veteran coach Reggie warned Zayas that while he is talented, he is still young and lacks experience for elite fights, and facing someone like Ennis could expose weaknesses in his development and timing.
Xander's a good fighter. I like Xander. I just think that Xander don't know enough. Yeah. Take a fight like this. I mean, granted, you get in this game, you're in this game to be the best. But I don't think he's ready for a fight like this. I mean, Xander's good, he can fight, but he's still a kid, he's still a baby, still in learning stages right now.
Unified champion, though, right?
He is.
Big kid. Seemed like he's getting better each and every fight.
And I agree, but boots in careers, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, are they going to pay him enough? You know what I'm saying? Are they going to pay him enough? Because I'm sure after they fight, he's not going to fight for a while.
Journalist Mike Coppinger said this fight is a smart move for Zayas because even as an underdog, it can boost his market value and reputation, and shows his ambition by choosing a tough opponent instead of easier fights, which can help his long-term growth.
And why there's so much hype around Boots. He's an incredible athlete. He has a great jab. He can box. He's in good fights. He has power. But Xander Zayas at 23 is definitely an improving fighter. And like you said, Gabe, he's an economic engine, right? He could be fighting in Puerto Rico. He just sold out in January. He could fight in New York. He's going to probably have the bigger fan support here. Yeah. And I think this is a great business move for Xander, too. He's going to get a career-high payday. And like you said, 190 he walks around at. He hasn't had much more time at 154.
Yeah. And also, I'm thinking about is if you really watch Boots does look special all the time. But there's cases where he gets hit a lot. And you're like, man, for you to be so good and so special, why are you getting hit from some of these lower class fighters? So Xander might have seen that. So you know what? Yeah, I know Boots is special. I know he's really, really good, etc. But I see things in his game where I can.
Ennis is known as one of the top fighters at 154 with elite skills, while Zayas surprised many by choosing this risky fight. And during the face-off, both looked confident. But Ennis has more experience and a stronger record against top opponents.
Knew Boots was going to have confidence. He believes he's the best 154 in the world. Xander Zayas, who even people on his own side wondered why he was pushing for this fight. Even his trainer needed an explanation from him before he signed off on him taking this fight. His promoter, who admitted on the dais that his plan for Xander was to put him in MSG, put him in Puerto Rico, do a nice title defense. This was all Xander Zayas. But Xander on that stage continues to look like, act like, sound like a guy that firmly believes that he is the better fighter in this matchup. What were your takeaways from watching Boots and Xander face-to-face for the first time?
It was a fun press conference because Boots was really confident. He was brimming with confidence, and normally you see Boots more, more chill with a little bit more swagger. He's a little bit more, soft with his comebacks. But no, he was brimming with confidence, and him and Zayas were going back and forth, and I think Zayas handled it perfectly. For a 23-year-old champion who hasn't really been against the best, he's facing somebody that's potentially pound for pound one of the best, and Zayas handled it. He handled it with flying colors, man. And I think Boots better respect what he has in front of him. Even though the measurements stay the same, I saw a bigger, younger fighter motivated to do something great in Zayas.
Both fighters have defensive weaknesses, as Ennis can be hit when he attacks aggressively, while Zayas still makes mistakes due to inexperience, and analysts believe Ennis has the advantage in skill ability and experience, and Zayas may try to apply pressure while Ennis uses counterpunching to control the fight.
And if Boots is not careful and is a little bit too much overconfident, then this is a type of fight where he can be exposed. There was something both of them were going on, saying they both get hit. Yes, they do, but Boots gets hit being offensive. Zayas gets hit, being a little bit pulling his head back, rookie mistakes. And I think a fighter like Boots can capitalize on that. And Zayas better be on his P's and Q's. He better have that sharp technique because he's dealing with a more confident, maybe overconfident, but more skilled and naturally gifted fighter in Boots. And that's the reason that the unified champion is the underdog in Zayas.
Yeah, I can't help but wonder what Zayas' game plan is going to be, because his team, I think, is going to want him to try to push Boots back. And you saw some of the things that Xander said. He said he felt that Boots has been a weight bully for most of his career. So that and some conversations that I had with people around him told me that they want to be a more offensive-oriented fighter. When guys come at Jaron Ennis, he is an excellent counterpuncher. He's excellent fighting going backwards. He kind of eats up that style. Now, maybe Xander and his team can say he's never done that against a guy on my level. That's probably true. I mean, look, Stanionis is a really good fighter. Boots carved him up. Lima, certainly not on Xander's level, but he came at Boots and got...
Winky Wright said fighters become truly great by defeating top opponents and believes this fight is a real test that could define both careers as moments like this shape legacies and prove greatness.
Dora, Keith Thurman, there's also the triangle that I like to call Virgil Ortiz, Xander, and Boots. Right now, it looks like Xander and Boots are going to fight. What are your thoughts on that fight?
It's going to be a good fight, man. The division looking good right now, you know, and I just want to see all the fighters fight each other, man. The best need to fight the best. That's what's going to bring the fans to boxing. And, you know, you can only be great by beating somebody great. You know what I'm saying? You can have a bunch of wins with no great win. You're just a good fighter, but you want to be great, you need to beat another great fighter. So they got the opportunity and the hope.
Sean Porter described Ennis as a special talent who has not yet fully shown his greatness and said this fight will give him that chance and believes both fighters will perform at their best and the fight will be competitive.
I'm thinking to myself, if this is what a phenom looks like, then what the hell is Boots Ennis?
Yeah.
And I was like, so that's where the calling him the amazing Boots Ennis comes from. The dude is electricity waiting to shock you.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't had the opportunities to shock, right? So he's got Xander coming up here pretty soon. That fight's in June or May?
June 27th.
That fight's at the end of June. And I think that we will see an amazing Boots Ennis against a superb Xander Zayas. And I think the best man will win that fight. I don't think that that's a one-sided fight either way. If you're from Philly, you don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? If you're Puerto Rican, you don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? But it's a great matchup. But I just wanted to answer to that real quick. I just from what I was exposed to over the weekend, and that just has been in my mind. So when I came to Boots, it was like, if you call in everybody else phenoms and stuff like that, then we just gonna have to call him the amazing Boots Ennis. You know?
Max Kellerman also spoke about the 154 division and said it is very competitive where skill, timing, and experience matter more than hype, and fighters must keep facing top opponents to stay on top, as one big win is not enough.
Boots match up with him.
Boots matches up, you know, he might be the best fighter. I think he's the most talented fighter
For sure.
at 154.
Is he ever going to fight any of these guys?
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. I think we're going to see him fight somebody this summer, and we'll get to it a little bit later in the show.
Look, what do you think of, like, when I look at all those names, I see a bunch of good fighters. But when you say who could be special out of all those guys, my best prediction would be Boots.
Gotta be Boots.
But you got to beat these guys. You can't just make us feel that way. You got to actually do it.
To me, the top guys in that division is Boots and Virgil.
Right. That's why everyone wants to see that fight.
You know what I mean? So, and Boots just got that. He got that swag, he got that speed, that power, good defense. He from Philly.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting.
By the way, these two are not going to get
like, if you're not a big boxing fan or a real professional boxer, you just watch all these guys fight and you watch Boots, you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
The wow effect, he has that. So when you ask this question, it's not even no shot of a doubt who's the most talented fighter.
Now the big question is, will Ennis' power take control of the fight, or can Zayas' skill and composure create an upset? Share your prediction in the comments.